In this video, I'll break down part 1 of how I teach my students to execute a pop flip so that you can steal it, tweak it, relanguage it, and teach your students how to do it too. Hi everyone, you're watching the very first episode of Teacher Tuesday, where each week I will break down a tried and true pop rock technique that I've been teaching through my program, WAIL with Shannah Rae. Now, the trick to helping your students be able to accomplish a pop flip is all about helping them feel the extremes between open and closed vocal folds. If they've been singing classical or traditional musical theater for a while, you may need to give them permission to feel something different than they're used to. I tell my students it's like the difference between ballet and hip-hop class. In ballet, the goal is to be up, whereas in hip-hop, the goal is to be down. Neither is right nor wrong. They're both appropriate within their respective styles. It's the same way with voice. And one of the ways pop music is different from classical or traditional musical theater is in the manipulation of the vocal folds. Part 1 of teaching a student how to do a pop flip is getting them comfortable with the abrupt shift of rapid switching between open and closed vocal folds. In my WAIL program, I refer to these as gear shifts. So here is my stepwise approach to teaching this particular gear shift. Step 1. Imagine that there is a set of French doors that exist in your throat and can open and close at will. To open the doors, say he. To close the doors, say e. Practice that with me a couple times. He, e, he, e. Step 2. Now imagine that you are in your room and you really just want some peace and quiet, but the person in the next room is blaring their radio really loud. Close those doors, but this time do it with a little bit of irritation. E. Step 3. Now imagine that everyone left and you have the whole place to yourself. Fling open those doors with a happy hee. Step 4. Find a neutral pitch and toggle between closing the door with irritation and opening it with joy. Start with 2 separate sounds, then slowly move them together. E, he, e, he, e, he, e, he, e, e, he, e. At some point, they will likely start doing what I just did, blending the sounds. When that happens, remind them to go back to their extremes. The goal is to feel the abrupt shift. Some students may need to stay there for a while and practice that. It may take a little bit of time for them to get used to that. However, if you have a student that picks that up really quickly, then you can move on to toggling between 2 different pitches. And there you go. That's part 1 of how to do a pop flip. If you found that useful, steal it, tweak it, relanguage it, and teach it. Then be sure to like and subscribe, because in part 2, I'll break down some specific artist examples that you and your student can use to practice this technique. See you next week.